Have you ever noticed that some people leave you feeling energized, hopeful, and motivated, and other people just leave you feeling like you are completely drained? Your battery is just done. No more Energizer Bunny. We spend a great deal of time talking about nutrition and exercise, sleep and supplements, stress management and morning routines. But we rarely talk about one of the most powerful and most underestimated influence on our health, the people we choose to spend our lives with, not just our spouses, not just our families, but our friends, the people we text, the people we have coffee with, the people we vent to and celebrate with, the people we allow into the interior of our lives. Because whether we realize it or not, those people are shaping our habits and our beliefs and our emotional health and our future. Welcome to Incandescent Voltage, Luminous Being. My name is Tiffany, and I have been a functional medicine board certified health coach since 2017. Everything shared on this channel is for educational and reflective purposes only. Remember that you are the keeper of your own current. This is not medical advice, so please seek out medical or mental health support whenever you need it. If you're Gen X like me, this lesson is probably very familiar. There was a time when our parents stood at the door and decided who got access to us. You can't hang out with that one. They are a bad influence. And most of us rolled our eyes at the time, but now nobody's standing at the door anymore. It's our job now. And I think many adults have genuinely forgotten how much influence friendship still carries. Back in the 80s and 90s, campaigns like Mothers Against Drunk Driving were built on a simple truth: the people around you influence your choices. That truth didn't stop being true, it just grew up with us. And today it might not be peer pressure in the classic sense. It might be the friend whose constant negativity gradually dims your own light, the friend whose financial chaos makes overspending feel normal, or the friend whose excuses become so familiar that you begin borrowing those excuses for yourself. The influence is still there. It's just wearing different clothes now. And when we think about our health, most of us ask the same questions again and again, like what should I eat? What supplements should I take? Or what kind of movement is best for my body? But maybe we should also be asking, what kind of people am I surrounding myself with? Do your friends encourage nourishing choices? Or do they make you feel strange for caring about your body? Do they enjoy moving their bodies, or do they only sit around and complain? Do they take responsibility for their lives, or do they consistently point fingers at everyone around them? Because eventually we become a bit like the people we spend the most time with. Their habits become normal, their standards become normal, and their beliefs about what is possible become normal. And that can either elevate your life or erode your life. I want to share something personal here. Years ago, someone introduced me to a woman who had the potential to become a real friend. And at first, I was genuinely hopeful. But over time, I noticed that nearly every conversation revolved around complaints about her husband. So I listened and I asked questions and I tried to understand the situation with as much generosity as I could. And the more I learned, the more something didn't add up. Her husband worked long hours and came home and helped. He was present for their children. He paid the bills. He showed up for the family. And yet in the story she was telling, he remained the villain regardless of what he did. And what troubled me most was something else entirely. I heard her say repeatedly, while raising sons, all men are. All men are this, all men are that. And none of it was positive, it was always negative. And I remember sitting with that and feeling genuinely sad, somewhat angry because I love my sons. I absolutely loved my late husband, but genuinely sad because she was speaking a worldview into existence for her boys who still had their whole lives ahead of them. And I realized I wasn't witnessing a difficult season in marriage. I was witnessing a habitual way of seeing the world. It was a very true worldview. I genuinely wished her well. I don't hold any resentment toward her, but I also know I have worked way too hard in my life building a healthier inner landscape. I can't sit voluntarily in that kind of environment. I can't and I won't if I want to be my best, healthiest self. So I stepped back, not with cruelty and not with judgment, but with it's a very deep understanding. Proximity is a choice. My nervous system definitely needed me to choose something very different. Over the years, I've been more attentive to certain patterns in friendship, not because people who carry these are bad people, they rarely are, but because certain dynamics have a way of depleting your field, such as the chronically negative friend. We've all met this person. The glass isn't just half empty, the glass is shattered and the water is poisoned, and somehow it is everybody else's fault. I once heard a story about a woman who was standing outside with a friend after lunch, and there was this full, vivid rainbow that appeared in the sky. And her friend kept saying flatly, "I don't see a rainbow," even though it was right in front of her. And that story became a metaphor for me because some people genuinely cannot see beauty, even when it is right in front of their face. They can't see blessings, they can't see possibilities, opportunities. It's impossible for them to locate hope. And spending significant time around people like this tends to do something extremely real to our own perception. Eventually, we stop looking for rainbows too. And then we have the comparative friend. This is the friend who turns life into a competition. Your success becomes their discomfort. Your happiness is a measuring stick for their own. Your win somehow reads to them as their loss. These friendships carry a particular kind of loneliness because one of the greatest gifts that friendship can offer us is having someone who's genuinely in your corner. Someone who says, "You did it and I'm proud of you. Keep going." If your victories are met with silence, subject changes, or subtle diminishment rather than genuine celebration, I would take notice of that. Not to judge, but to understand what is and isn't available in that relationship. And of course, we have the friend who pulls you away from yourself. And this one is complicated because these are the people who are genuinely fun. They're entertaining and exciting. And every time you're around them, you find yourself spending money that you didn't intend to spend, eating things you didn't particularly want, staying up later than your body can afford, skipping the things that matter to your future self to say yes to whatever feels good right now. The issue isn't that they're bad people. The issue is that your future self continues to pay the bills for today's choices. Eventually, the question to ask is this friendship helping me become who I want to be, or is it consistently pulling me away from that person? As a functional medicine health coach, one of the things I find most fascinating is how reliably health behaviors spread between people. People who walk together tend to walk more. People who cook together tend to eat better. People who prioritize their growth tend to make it easier for those around them to do the same. And the reverse is equally true. Negativity is contagious. Excuses are contagious. Learned helplessness is contagious. And over time, what surrounds you starts to begin to feel normal, which means it begins to feel like the ceiling rather than the floor. And this is not speculation. Research on social networks and health outcomes consistently show that our behaviors, our weight, our mood, our mortality risks are meaningfully influenced by the people we spend the most time with. Your friends are not just shaping your weekends, they're shaping your biology. One of the harder lessons of adulthood is accepting that not everyone belongs in the front row of your life. It's not about becoming cold or judgmental. It's not about demanding that people be perfect before they deserve your time. It's about understanding that your nervous system is listening to every conversation you have. Your habits are being shaped by the environment you repeatedly enter. Your future is being sculpted by the standards of the people closest to you. And so it becomes worth asking, very honestly, who in my life consistently inspires me toward health, kindness, personal responsibility, and hope? Who makes me want to be my best self? And whose presence over time tends to make me feel smaller, more scattered, or further from who I genuinely want to become? These are not easy questions, but they're honest ones. And I want to be careful here because I know this conversation can slide toward judgment, and that's not the intention. Every person we encounter is fighting a battle that we can't fully see. Every pattern we observe in others exists in some form in ourselves as well. The goal is not to curate a perfect circle of already healed people. The goal is simply to be honest about what our closest relationships are cultivating in us. Are they cultivating courage or fear, growth or stagnation, responsibility or resentment, hope or resignation? Because who you spend your time with, in a very real sense, is who you are becoming. Your health is not just the food on your plate or the movement that you choose or the supplements you take. It's the conversations you have every day, the stories you absorb, the energy you allow to circulate through your life. So choose wisely. The current you live in eventually becomes the current you carry. And before we close, I want to let you know that I will have some reflective questions for you in the community tab tomorrow. You can use those for journaling or contemplation, or have a deeper conversation using those with a therapist or counselor if that's something that feels supportive to you. Remember that healing can come by just making the space for the questions themselves. You don't have to have immediate answers. Thank you for choosing to spend this time with me today, luminous being. If something in this conversation resonated with you, please let me know in the comments. How did this information shift the way you view yourself, your body, or your current season of life? What expanded your awareness as you listened? These conversations are not about perfection. They're about learning how to listen more honestly to ourselves with curiosity, compassion, and clarity. And if this episode supported you in some way, please like, subscribe, or share it with a friend who may need these words as well. If you would like to go deeper, I invite you to check out my free 5-day email course. The link is in the description below. This is where ancient wisdom meets modern science to support you on your own health, nervous system, and wellness journey. And until next time, may you continue healing at the speed of safety.